He's going to do it again, isn't he? Like Joey Logano in an even year. I'm watching him pull into victory lane now. Son of a bitch is going to do it again. He's going to pull it out of his ass after being 15th all year and go into the Final Four, isn't he? It's insane to me. And I get it's a super speedway. I know. I'm not judging the whole thing. Don't take it too literally. I'm a little bit of a joke. But at the same time, you kind of have to wonder, like, is it going to happen again? But there you have it. If you're coming in here late, after, I would say, a pretty electric overtime finish, electric race overall. We have an overtime finish to start the playoffs, which is pretty much on par with what we've had so far this season. And once again, Joey Logano and Team Penske as a whole, just strong. I would best guess that Austin Cindric led the most laps today. Ryan Blaney probably had the strongest car today. Joey Logano is probably one of the best super speedway racers out there. And here we go. I'm going to take a picture while we have it. On-air production meeting. I even got the sound on for this one. Here are the playoff standings as we head on into Watkins Glen next week. Watkins Glen and then Bristol. And we'll go through the results in a bit. All unofficial, I will add. But Joey Logano's locked in with a win. Ryan Blaney plus 45 on the cut. Then you got plus 40 for Christopher Bell. Tyler Reddick plus 33 tied with William Byron. Then plus 27 tied for Alex Bowman and Austin Cindric. Sizable amount of points for Cindric today. Chase Elliott plus 24. Daniel Suarez plus 22. Kyle Larson plus 15. We'll talk about his nasty wreck as well. 2 above the cut line for Denny Hamlin, complete non-factor today. Then plus 0 tied with Ty Gibbs getting the tiebreaker. A lot of ties in there over Brad Keselowski. 15 back for Harrison Burton. 18 back for Martin Truex Jr. and Chase Briscoe, 20 points back, rounds out the playoff field. Be sure to lick that like button, by the way. Let's see if we can run up the score on that one. And I want to get your rating out of 10. 10 being the best race you've ever seen. 10 being Spring Atlanta. 1 being, though, I'll just go again, 08 Brickyard. Let me know, out of 10, what'd you think? What did you think of this race? I personally, I'd give it probably an 8 or 9, somewhere in there. It wasn't a ton. There's a wreck at the end, but it wasn't a huge wreck fest. The racing was pretty intense overall, I thought. All in all, a pretty good race. All things considered. And I get a lot of people will be disappointed. It's not going to be the closest finish in X amount of years at Atlanta like the spring was. It isn't going to be, as awesome as that. I think that was definitely peak new Atlanta. But this is pretty damn good too. Let's go through really quick the unofficial finishing order that they have on NASCAR.com after 266 laps, 3 hours, 6 minutes, 11 seconds, 24 lead changes, 14 leaders, 8 cautions. And this is what we have unofficial. Again, and when it's on the top of the screen, the rest of the stream, it'll be unofficial results. Joey Logano gets the win today. Right over Ryan Blaney at the moment, scored second, though I'm not sure what NBC is going to say because I know they were saying that Suarez might have been listed ahead. Again, we're all very much waiting for NASCAR to get it set up. They're saying Suarez now in second. So Suarez in the second spot, at least at the moment. And you guys will have to keep me updated on that. So we're rolling with it, man. So Suarez second. And then that will mean that Ryan Blaney will be in the third spot unofficially. From there, you would have Bell in fourth on NASCAR.com. Then you have Bowman fifth, Reddick sixth, Kyle Busch seventh. Eighth would be Chase Elliott, William Byron in ninth, and Austin Cindric atop 10. Then Hemrick, Haley, Stenhouse, Chastain, LaJoy, Hocevar, Preece, Gibbs, Brad Keselowski, and Austin Dillon, the top 20. J.J. Yaley, unofficially at this time, listed 21st. McDowell, Zane Smith, Denny Hamlin, 24th. Then B.J. McLeod, top 25 today, as of now. Then Eric Jones, 26, 27, Todd Gilliland, Josh Berry, Bubba Wallace, Cody Ware, the top 30, with Harrison Burton barely making it to the line if he did. finishing 31st on the day. SVG, these are all official. From 32nd on down, we're all good. SVG, 2 laps down in 32nd. John Hunter Nemechek, 4 down in 33rd. Noah Gragson out of the race in 34th. Martin Truex Jr., 12 down in 35th. Then Chris Buescher out, 36th. 37th, Kyle Larson out. Then Chase Briscoe, 38th, last out of this race. Keep me updated on what we got. This will be one of those collaborative efforts again. So there you go. Quaker State 400. Unofficial results will be at the top. And let's talk about a couple things, the big storylines before we go into the point by point on it, and then we'll try and change up the ticker or anything if we have any changes. We will definitely have some changes in the finishing order. First one, let's start early. Kyle Larson. Nasty hit, big overcorrection, I think, on his part. Sounded like one of the tires is going flat, though, but still, that's what collected Briscoe as well. Those two out early, and as of what they're stating, based on the broadcast, it's rough for both of them. It's roughest for Briscoe, 20 back and last on the grid. But Kyle Larson goes to 15 above. And I think he'll be fine, personally. He's good at Watkins Glen. He's been pretty good at Bristol. I don't think that Larson's in any dire straits. I don't think he's going to be the one that's, eliminated first round. But it makes the margin for error so much less. If you have like a speeding penalty on that first pit stop at the Glen and then you're pushed way back, especially with how this package is, it can be really, really big now. Whereas if you had that cushion before, which if he makes the next round he'll have, you don't really have to worry about that part. Denny Hamlin, +2. He's another one. He sat in the back all race long. I don't know if just the car wasn't up to snuff or what. I know they had some issues during the weekend. But him, +2, no margin for error. He has another bad race. It could be a must-win in Bristol for him. So, those two, I think, are the ones who would be the most shocking to be on this line right now. Larson for just bad luck. If, sound like it was kind of a flat, at least based on what he was saying. And then Hamlin just with either a bad strategy or a bad car today. Just those two right there. I think those are the big headlines early on. I want to give a shout out again to Austin Cindric. I don't know what it is about Atlanta versus all of the others. I know he won the Daytona 500. I have a poster of that right there. But something about Atlanta. He is just really damn good here. That 2 team just turns it on, man. Now I have Haley twice. Fucking shocker. It's so unofficial. We have 2. Maybe it should be, how about this? It'll pop up on screen. It should be Hendrick. Yeah, there you go. Thanks for calling me on that. See, I told you I have dumbass attacks sometimes. But Cindric, man, he's so damn good at this track. I don't know what exactly it is that he's so good here versus the other ones in comparison. But that is a huge ace in the hole for him to start this year. Again, +27. He's tied with Alex Bowman. It's on the screen, at least for me right now. He is, he has a buffer. And all he needs to do, really, in my opinion, is just 15th at the rest of the way and maybe get a couple stage points. He finishes 15th in both races. I know he's struggled at road courses, but if he gets like 4 stage points in that, and then like 15th at Bristol and gets like 4 stage points there, I will take it to the bank he would make it. Because that's all you have to do in that first round. You just don't have to have the catastrophic failure. You just basically, no matter where you're at, you basically just have to 15th it through. So just saying, man, Team Penske is looking really good. This track really suits them well. They've always been good at these tracks in particular, but this configuration of Atlanta. Talk about it again. Joey Logano. Love him, hate him, whatever. Something about these even years, man. It's just he pulls it out of his ass, and or he just stuff goes right for him. Because Joey Logano's been about a 15th place guy all year. The guy has not been really good in any way, shape, or form. But this is a good track for him, and it's an even year. That's like all I can really say at this point. I swear, it's like I don't mean it as like a disrespect to Logano fans there, but it's one of those years. Is he gonna do it again? I'll pull that one because I want to see, I want to see how many of y'all are superstitious and how many of you just flat out hate Joey Logano. So what I'm gonna ask is, does Logano make the Final Four? And it's just yes or no. Polls up. If anyone can do it after being middle of the road all year, it would be Joey Logano. I'm assuming it's going to be majority no, but I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Wow. It's actually pretty damn close. Like, it's definitely majority no, but it's not a vast majority. Oh, man. Let's see. Some other points of emphasis I want to say. No real big one until the very end of this race. Got to give them credit. They kept it together, just like for the most part they kept it together in the spring, winter, if you will. So there is that also that I think we should say, and I think it's why a lot of people have gravitated towards New Atlanta in the last couple races, is that, like, compared especially to Talladega and Daytona especially, Atlanta doesn't have as many wrecks, so you get a little more racing out of it. And yeah, NASCAR.com has changed. All right, they keep top 5 as is, so it's looking for the most part like it is what it is. We'll keep it going. But let's talk about the race itself here, because there weren't, I don't think as many huge moments to talk about as there were just overall this race. The racing again, this track, this redesign is perfectly set for the next gen, so the racing itself was pretty damn good, as it has pretty much been expected to be. So I can't complain about that. It's pretty damn good racing today. Kind of that mix of just it on its own, old Daytona, current super speedway racing at the bigger tracks, you name it. It's like a hodgepodge. It's like just a conglomerate of all of them. But looking at here, Michael McDowell started on the pole today, and he led for a good deal early on. Handling, of course, was really big early. Nothing really changed the first 30 or so laps. It was basically, choo-choo train, spam choo-choo in the chat a little bit if you want. It was just choo-choo train racing for a little bit. Fall on the 34 until Ryan Blaney decided it's go time, lap 30. He takes the lead. Around that same time as well, I'll say this, the Gibbs cars outside of the 11 were moving forward. The 54 and the 19 went to the rear. They're moving forward. You had early on, it was just flat out Hendrick versus Penske. You had, in order, the 12-2 and 22 fighting on the bottom at one point, the 5, 48, 24 fighting. And I'll say this, Kyle Larson looked aggressive. It looked like Kyle Larson, I think he was going out there, one, just get it out of the way early so he can rack up points the next 2 races. But 2, I think in the back of his head, it probably bothers him how many people kind of almost make fun of how bad he is with super speedways, whether it's his fault or not. And I think he was just straight up motivated trying to go up to the front. But there's a reason I bring Kyle Larson up in particular. He gets in this horrible wreck, bad angle, really fast. I saw it because I was going back and forth between a few things. In that particular moment, and I look at the screen, I just see that 5 car just right across the track, right into the wall, and I'll say that my stomach sank for a second because that's a damn hard hit. I've never seen a next gen car crumple and have as much damage from a non-flip take out the Priest one. I don't think I've seen a next gen car from just a head-on impact like that have that much damage before as the 5 car had, which I will say that's a good thing. You want that energy to kind of be absorbed more so the driver's safer. And within 30 seconds of hitting the wall, and the Kyle Larson was getting out of the car fine. So the only damage he had was to his playoff bid, not any, from what it seemed like, any physical harm. He was actually kind of laughing and stuff and joking around a little bit. So Kyle Larson, I'm happy he's okay. Hard ass hit. And I guess good that these cards crumple more now, because I think if that were 2 years ago, he would have a whole lot more aches and pains right after. But that ended the stage. Blaney winning it over Hendrick, Bowman, Logano, and Stenhouse, the top 5. Then Chastain, Elliott, Byron, Truex, and Ty Gibbs. We go on to stage 2. By the way, I'll let you know, we'll read those super chats at the end of the recap and talking and all that. But let's end the poll right here. End the poll right now. 58% of you say no. Joey Logano will not make the Final Four. 42% of you, though, are like, hey, man, it's an even year. Logano could do anything in these years. He can just, somersault on the track all season long until he gets to the playoffs and then just turn it on. We'll see, man. We'll see. I'll say, I don't know what his betting odds were for the championship, especially heading in, but they had to be pretty damn good, at least for the championship 4. Probably worth putting like $5 on or something. We get going in stage 2. The 48 and the 2 are up front. Bowman won the race off pit road. That's why he inherited the lead. Bowman would immediately fall back. The 2 and the 12. It was a Penske showcase for much of this race. It reminded me of a couple years ago. Was it the 2020? Was it the first race here, I think, that Logano won and just Penske was just on it? That's what it reminded me of today. And for the most part, it was just a lot of give and take. Handling really meant a lot today. You saw cars getting really loose, really sketchy, jittery. And through the pack, again, credit to the drivers. They kept it safe. And I can imagine why, for the most part, especially in a 100-lap stage. 2023. Okay, yeah. 2023 spring. Sorry, I can't keep Atlanta races together. Other than the last one, they kind of all washed together for me. There you go. Byron won the first race. Great. I forgot about that, and now a bunch of Hendrick fans are going to go after me for something that I didn't even mean to do this time. Par for the course. It's that time of year. But for the most part, for about a 50-lap span at the start of stage 2, it was just pretty chill when it came to drivers would make crazy moves, and there'd be some good racing, but they'd be pretty chill when it came to not going over aggressive, which I really appreciated. The only thing that really could stop them was a caution for debris, some sheet metal on I think lap 115 on the track, actual debris. It happened a little later as well. We get another restart, the 2 and the 48 again up there. Hendrick gets a great push. There's 3 wide through the pack and all that. He wins the stage over Blaney, Bowman, Suarez, Byron, Stenhouse, Chastain, Elliott, Gibbs, and Bell. What are we talking about? Let's see. Oh, I love it. Doesn't matter if it's a good race or a bad race. People will always go against each other in the chat, and it is so damn fun. I'm just like watching all the responses to you guys, like to each other, and it's just really funny to me. You know what's funny to me too is like halfway through, like when we got to the end of stage 2, I looked in this chat. I'll put it up. There was like 20 some people in here, and I look in the chat, and I see people. This is boring. Like, why aren't they doing anything? This is meh. This is mid and all that. And I'm like, man, NASCAR fans will find every reason to bitch about stuff. This is every Atlanta race. The first 2 stages are always all right to kind of good. Like, the final stage is where everything gets turned to 11. Man, like, I don't know how many races at New Atlanta we need to watch for people to understand this fact. And it's the same cycle. Same cycle every time we come here for Xfinity, sometimes trucks when they're here, and then the Cup races. The lower series will suck or be kind of in the middle of the road. And people are like, man, this sucks. I hate this track. Like, we should just go back to the old one, which, hey, I favor the old one, so I'd be okay with that. And then the Cup race comes the next day. It's really good. It's fun. And everyone's like, man, this is the best track ever. We need to make Texas and Las Vegas and Chicagoland a super speedway. Make them all super speedways. And I'm waiting for the day that people just understand this going in and have reasonable expectations, but I'm probably going to be waiting forever. I'll be a skeleton by the time people actually do that. But I just figured I would give you all some shit for that. Final stage. Let's get on into it. 1 and 34 up front. Again, a pretty good fight between the two of them, but not really too much to write home about. It was just pretty pretty much the same each restart. It's like, restart. They race by side. Somebody gets a push. They lead the way. They have control. We get a crash, though, with John Hunter Nemechek getting loose, hitting the inside wall, just lost it on his own on that one for the 42 team. And that is what opened the door for something else that kind of changed the day a little bit, or at least had people sweating. Suarez had a collision on pit road. LaJoie hit Elliott, and it sounds like his wheel wasn't straight. Still recovered pretty well. Overall, just some wackiness. Just Atlanta Super Speedway wackiness, even in the pits. And Atlanta's always kind of been a little wacky in the pits. So, top two, those stay out. Those being Ty Gibbs and Bubba Wallace. And for Ty Gibbs, he pretty much stayed there all day. I mean, they restart. Bubba, he got pushed to the lead. 54 fight back. We see this back and forth until we have our first, I think, really major caution in the second half of the race, where the 17 gets loose. Looked like he might have had a flat too. Gets into the 12. 12 kind of skirts the wall a little bit, gets down into the 19. But the Dent Wizard car, the 12 car, really didn't have too much of a problem. Wasn't really, didn't dent his race too much, just made it look a little less pretty on the side of that door. Truex, on the other hand, his no good, very bad, terabad season since announcing retirement continues. That knocked him to, what did that knock him to? 35th, 12 laps down. Just horrid luck. There's a reason that he's the only one that wasn't one of those bottom guys. Oh, and I see Peter on screen right now. Peter Strata, that's usually in the chat. He was on screen behind Chase Elliott. But it's just, I don't know what to say, Truex fans. It's just, I feel for you, man. Like when Junior announced his last season as a Dale Jr. fan, I was like, I'm just happy to see him out there after the concussions, after missing half of 2016. And I kind of expected we're probably going to have a 20th to 23rd place season. I'll have a few shots at super speedways, maybe a fuel mileage race to win or something like that. And I kind of expected that. It sucked, but it was level with the expectations going in. With Martin Truex Jr., it's just like a nosedive. Ever since that announcement, it seems like it's just been a straight nosedive into the ground. But, as much as it sucks, I'll say this to Truex fans and anyone who enjoys just NASCAR history, all that. Enjoy him here while he's here, even if he sucks. Enjoy these last couple, and then, of course, to next year. And, we'll be doing the 500, some Xfinity races, other sporadic races, of course. But enjoy him being here every week while he is. Got to say that now. Give some respect to MTJ. He's flown under the radar way too much in his career. He deserves everyone's respect for how good he actually is, even if the end of this year has been really awful. So we get it back going. The 8 and 24 up front. Man, Kyle Busch, again, I'm going to say this too. Kyle Busch has been really, really strong at the end of this season. I'm clicking on here. He's unofficially still listed on NASCAR's website as the 7th place finisher. It looks like that's where he finished up the day. This 8 team, since I'd say the Brickyard, has just had so much more speed. And I get to Super Speedway, don't read too much into it, but there is something to read into with actual momentum, with actually being up front, even if it's Super Speedway races like Daytona and Atlanta, of actually competing for wins, having your team up there, knowing knowing as a team you can do that. There still is something to that kind of momentum on the stat sheet. So just saying, there's things to look forward to for next year. It's going to be really interesting. I'm going to be interested after the road coursing, what he can do at Bristol. I'm going to be interested to see what he can do at Kansas. Talladega, the Roval, they're kind of their own beasts. But I'm going to be interested to see what he can do at Vegas, for instance. That's the one. I know a lot of people are looking at Talladega, and I get why they are. He's been bad fast. RCR's been bad fast, but I'm just saying, if you're looking for someone who's going to sneak under the radar outside of the playoffs and get a win at a non-drafting track, as they call them, I still call them super speedways, restrictor plate tracks, as much as I know they're not. No, it's not colloquially the right term. And road courses are always really weird. But if you're looking for someone to win at a bread and butter track, 1.5 miles, Kyle Busch at Las Vegas has been really damn fast in the 8 car. I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle Busch at least competed for a top 5 at Las Vegas. So just keep an eye on that one. But anyway, they're up front. Chastain gives a push to Busch push, if you will. Makes a move as well. It's 4 wide in the pack. At this point, this is when they're just going balls to the wall. I mean, it's sketchy handling. Busch is leading up front. You got 3 and 4 wide racing all the way through the pack. You got favorites like Bell and like Blaney charging their way up the pack, especially Blaney, who had the fresher tires, awesome car, really made more moves, I think, through the pack than I saw anybody make all day long in a short amount of time. He's coming up through there, and you're getting the fight for the lead heating up too. With 27 to go, it's a 24 getting pushed to the lead. Then Ty Gibbs, with a push from Suarez, makes a move trying to get to the lead. From there, You're hearing as well that teams are trying to save gas. The 54 is up front in large part because he has more fuel to play with. He can be more aggressive. These other guys are saving fuel. Very, familiar. Very familiar to a Joey Logano win earlier this year. You know, what's funny is that Danny B predicted that Joey Logano would get 3 wins. We get 3 wins this year, and he's 1 away with 9 races to go. And it's an even number year. Going to keep bringing that up. But it's just this constant back and forth. Suarez fights for the lead at this point. Blaney's charging up right behind him. I'll say it, man. It is heating up. I am super, super excited. And at this point, I'm thinking like, man, I think they actually could make it this aggressive to the finish. They've been so damn good all day long. And then the caution flies. 11 laps to go. Caution comes out. Spam Walmart in the chat. And I see, Gordon versus Johnson in Atlanta was better than this. Yeah, I know. But, like, why are we bringing... I'm sorry, chat. I'm just spewing off the mind right now. Why are we bringing up shit that happened almost 15 years ago right now? Like, we don't have to compare it all the time. Yeah, spam Walmart in the chat because Walmart spammed our race. Sign fell off the fence, brought out a caution with 11 to go. It was a real buzzkill, in my opinion, because I was really getting into it at that point. We spent 6 laps under caution, and with 5 to go, it's another restart. Fuel's still an issue for these guys before we get to overtime. We have the 54 and the 99 up front. 99 gets a push. 54 gets right back. 99's back in the bottom. We're taking it 3 wide here. We got Kyle Busch taking them 3 wide. We got 54 shooting out when this gets taken 3 wide because of the loss of momentum. 3x3 in the pack. Logano gets his ass up there. And then it's the 22 and the 12 on the top. Penske teammates versus Trackhouse teammates. 99 and the 1 on the bottom. And they are... It's going to be them battling for the win. It is. And it's going to be whether or not one of their teammates, whether Blaney somehow could make a move on the high side kind of being boxed in, or if Chastain bonsai'd it or remained a good teammate. That was going to be the race. Coming to the white flag, caution comes out on the backstretch. Noah Gragson kind of crashed off the nose of the 21. We're going to overtime. And why don't we do another one here? Let's spam, because NASCAR spammed us with it. Let's spam OT. Overtime. OT. Because that seems to be how much it happens. It just spams us. I see in the chat, can we talk about how bad of a teammate Byron was today? I mean, if anyone's paid attention, Byron's been like this for a while at super speedways, where he's just smart and he just goes, I think, smart in instances where he just will be selfish. You got to be selfish as a super speedway driver to be good. And don't take my word for it. That was Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. who both said that. But it hurts your teammates. It does hurt you. If that's what you're talking about. Because there was so much to focus on. I'm like watching the 3-wide battle for the lead. I'm watching the entire pack just like glob together as I hit the damn mic again. No matter what happened there, careless, yeah. I'm sorry. I love how pissy you Hendrick fans get at each other. It's so damn funny. It's so funny watching the infighting. And then people will call, I have a lot of Hendrick fans call me a hater because I'll like laugh at it, but it's just funny to me. It's funny when the Penske guys do it. It's funny when Gibbs fans do it with each other, like when they're like that. And Penske fans are, I see Rixler in the chat saying that Penske fans are a little more chill, but it's always funny to me watching teammate fans infight with each other, and then I just like to pour gasoline on it. Anyway, off track there. Overtime, the 22 and the 99 restart, even restart. It was a little sketchy. The 22 kind of, I don't know if he spun the tires or the 12 got into him at the wrong time, but it made them even. The 99 nosed ahead going into 1. They get even to 3. Blaney, great teammate though, pushes the 22 out to the lead. And at that point, it's Joey Logano's race. It was proven pretty much all day long that you had to build up for laps with people to get that run, to get past them if they were the leader, because it was just so dominant to be the leader today. There were so many opportunities people might have had. By the way, we're going to take this down because NASCAR's updated the results a little bit again. But you just had to, you had to have at least 2 or 3 lines coming at the leader, or you had to have a bunch of guys behind you and one really good line or whatnot. And that wasn't going to happen. So it was pretty much a done deal. Like we knew at that point that it was going to be Logano winning, and he won. And I know a lot of people be upset about that, but hey, it is what it is. By the way, for those wondering what the changes are, for you Ty Gibbs fans, he's been moved to 17th, Priest down to 18th, so another point in Ty Gibbs' favor. Zane Smith has been moved up to the 21st spot. Yaley now, instead of 21st, goes to 23rd. So for all you fans of underdogs, there is that to look at. Denny Hamlin remains in the 24th spot. There's not too awful many changes here. Looking like, that's about the only changes we'll have. So we'll have the updated results up on the top of the screen now. Figured I'd let you guys know before you all headed out. But let's look at the Super Chat stage break. I'm watching you guys in there. I see that we are shifting over to SVU because the important things on TV, reruns of a show that has peaked like 12 years ago. Oh, man. I swear people probably, like, for the first time that watch me, will be like, this dude's such an asshole. Now, be sure to click the like button. We do this and subscribe. We do this after every race, truck, Xfinity, Cup. And be sure to like up the stream because it's fun watching, seeing how far up you guys can get it. I see in the chat here, Elijah says, was it a good race? I didn't watch because, frankly, I needed a break from playoff excitement. Yeah, it was pretty good. And that's for me, someone who really doesn't care all that much for the playoffs. It was just a good race and fun race to watch. Steve-O for the 10 here. Walmart 400 was a 7 out of 10. How much longer until NASCAR switches to the 1.5 mile package? I don't think they will. I mean, you would have to have something severely go wrong for them to switch away from the super speedway because it's worked so damn well for both them and SMI. I mean, ticket sales, like that, people said there were some empty seats, and there was, but it's still probably about 50,000, 45,000 people there, and they're competing head to head with the Falcons home opener, which had a lot of hype I saw until old Kirky Boy does what old Kirky Boy does. Still way better than the stands were pre-pandemic at Atlanta. Pandemic hit and they had no fans there, and you would be hard pressed to guess if it was just a normal race in 2019 or 2020. So I don't see them changing that. And especially since this track was, the way it was redesigned was to fit the next gen and a super speedway next gen. Garrett Buki for the 10 says, the weekend of hated winners definitely sours the mood, but it was a great race otherwise. Shout out to Suarez for somehow continuing to improve on his amazing stats here, buying that 99 diecast. It was a damn good looking car. And I'll let you know, for those who watch NWP, which will be this Wednesday night on this channel, y'all finished last in both races. I picked the winner in Xfinity. Eric picked the winner of the Cup race. I picked Blaney today. Stuff's going to get a lot closer. I'll just say that. I'm not going to spoil who's ahead right now. Just things have gotten very much closer, and anything can happen. It's crunch time. It's the most important time of the year. Just saying. Alex for the 2 says, me and Gordy say yabba dabba doo. Nice. SW for the 2 says, man, I wanted Suarez to win. I would have been cool with Suarez winning, man. I would have been really cool with that. Reverend Rasheem Hall Stewart for the 250 says, championship 4, Logano, Larson, Reddick, and Blaney. I wouldn't have said Logano before, but it always seems like it doesn't matter what kind of track it is, whether it's good for him or bad for him. Even number year, man. I underestimated it. I'm not going to do that until he's eliminated or makes it, whatever it is. I'm with you on Larson, Reddick, and I think Blaney can. I think he's one of them that can. I didn't pick him for my Final 4, but I think he was like the last one or the first one out. Tragic Kel for the 10 says, caution for a quick stop at Walmart. This is one thing pre-2020 I miss so much is those 3 a.m. trips with friends to Walmart when Walmart was open 24 hours everywhere. Just had to say that. NASCAR Fanatic for the 5 says, quite underwhelming compared to the spring race. Also got to call out NBC. Never showed the crash with Larson to finish the stage. Congrats to Logano. But I don't think anything was going to really catch the the spring race in terms of hype, just because I think that was probably the peak or near the peak where this track will ever be. But they did show the crash with Larson. They showed it multiple times. I don't know if you just missed it or something, but they showed that crash multiple times. It was all over social media from the NBC account that put stuff from the broadcast. I'm confused if just the TV cut out or something. I'm confused on that one. Fred Dog for the 2 says, was the 11 performance more bad car or bad strategy? See, that's what I'm wondering, because I know they talked about having some issues, but they didn't bring it up during the race. If maybe that's an NBC thing we can talk about. Oh, you meant live as it happened? I mean, they switched to it pretty quick. I don't know what the issue is here personally. But yeah, that's something I'm curious about is what happened with Hamlin there? Because that was just uncharacteristically bad today. Ben for the 5 says, Jarrett, congrats on the Vikings win today. Yeah, we beat a bottom 3 team, baby. Woo! We are so back. In all honesty, though, thanks. I appreciate it. Might be one of a couple wins this year, so I'll enjoy it while I can. Then you say, I get why people hate him, but these should stop. But they should stop being hypocrites. He did what he was supposed to do. Who are we talking about? We're talking about Joey Logano, because I don't really know if he did anything wrong. Anthony for the 5. Watkins Glen is going to be the most goofy ass playoff race ever. I could see it, or I could see it being dreadfully boring. I hope not. I hope I really hope that this new tire next week that has 5 seconds of fall off or whatever. I'm really, really hoping that gives us some pretty damn good race. I have a feeling it'll give us some good strategy. Whether or not the racing itself on even tires will be good, yet to be seen. But I'm very curious about this race. Marky Mark for the 2 says the 11 teams shot themselves in the foot. If it was strategy, hell yeah, they did. Hell yeah, they did. Rocks reviews and reactions for the 2. Maddening. It can only be up from here for Truex, right? I've learned in NASCAR, never tempt the NASCAR gods to make it worse on you. Sly Supersonic for the 504 says, poor Denny Hamlin. He tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I think he needs some Lincoln Park. Complete strategy fail. Yeah, if that was strategy, because that seemed like it was, absolutely awful strategy. I mean, it's been proven in this car. Doesn't matter which super speedway you're at, whether it's Daytona or Talladega or Atlanta, you have to be up front. Track position matters nowadays more than it has probably. I'd say probably since early Gen 6 when they would freight train it. In 2013, before it got good towards the end of that year, the Daytona 500 that year, Talladega, it matters that much. You have to stay up front. Marky Mark for the 2 here. My man Blaney was on a tear at the end. Almost, yeah. Still, great day for him leading the point side of it. He should be good, I would say. I'd say if he has a top 10 at Watkins Glen, even if he's not mathematically locked in, he'll be good. Alex for the 5 says, being Mexican, I love seeing a fellow fan like he's at a Mexico football game. We were basically in tears in my household. Fun race, easy 8.75 out of 10. Go 99. That's awesome. And yeah, the excitement. I'll say this: that crowd in Atlanta, especially, they looked freaking amped today, man. Like, even when that place ain't sold out, they bring the energy. Steve-O for the 5. What happens if 2311 wins a championship after not signing the charter agreement? That will be interesting. Reddick, if Reddick wins a championship, I mean, and they're still, because again, it's nine weeks away, give or take, 9 races. But if he wins a championship and they're still having that tension about the charters and trying to go back and forth, I wouldn't be surprised, seeing how they really can't lose all that much more, I would think, if they don't have a charter for next year. I could totally be surprised in seeing Reddick or Hamlin or Michael Jordan denying NASCAR or NBC an interview as protest. I could totally see that being the case. Or doing an interview and Denny or Michael Jordan bringing it up. Especially, like, you're not going to shut off you can shut off the camera probably on Denny Hamlin and people will probably be okay, but you can't do that on Michael Jordan. If they really want to do a power play on that, I still think they're going to probably get it done by then. I think, 2 teams versus all the others in NASCAR, like, as much as Denny won't admit it, I think they've lost the war. David Bell for the 1-year member chat. Damn. Says, Suarez jump when Ty was in the lead. They went silent. I'm not surprised that the stands were not Ty Gibbs fans. CBB for the 5 says, Logano entered the playoffs with 1 win, same as Blaney last year. I swear to God, the last thing we need is Logano with 3 titles, plus 3 in a row for Penske. It's an even year. That's going to be my answer with all of it now. I know you probably want some cutting edge analysis, but it's an even year. Don't question the weird ass thing until it is not the weird ass thing anymore. Wolfion 0617 for the 5 says, Joey doesn't deserve to race after what he pulled at Richmond. I'm still extremely disappointed in NASCAR for letting him continue to race. I don't like what he did either, but I don't think they should have suspended him for the season. I think that's too far. I don't like what he did, but I don't think it's season-long suspension worthy. Steve Lane for the 5 says, great race, action everywhere, 8.5 out of 10. However, as a Bubba fan, I'd give this season rating out of 8. I can't read. I apologize. I'm butchering this. As a Bubba fan, I'd give this season a rating of 8.5 out of 100,000. Yeah, it's been rough for you Bubba fans, but he's been better. This year, I think he performed better. It's just, if there's not a bunch of crazy winners out there that take up playoff spots, he'd probably have been fine. So I don't think it's panic time for 23 fans right now. Unless they don't get that charter signed, and then it's probably actually panic time. Internet Warrior with the 5 says, I'm a Suarez fan, but we need to get this Denny championship over with. Yeah, dude. I don't think, here's what I'll say about Denny. I don't think that the mojo's right now anymore. Between the penalty, between the charter stuff, between all that taking up the headlines, I don't think that, I don't know what it is. The 11's just a little off to me. And today, that strategy, unless they say something was wrong with the car, that strategy today, like falling off way behind the pack and not making a move, just something just weird with that, man. And I don't think that he's going to get any favorable calls from NASCAR this year either. Call me a conspiracy theorist, and a lot of people like to say that. I'll pull out my tinfoil hat on that one, but I don't think he's going to get anything favorable. But that about does it. Fun race, fun start to the playoffs, all of that. You Logano fans are definitely going to have a lot of fun the next couple of weeks because he can just pin his ears back and try and get as many playoff points as possible, whether it's stage wins or actual wins. So you guys are pretty much good to go. You get 2 freebie weeks. But I had a lot of fun today. I thought it was a pretty good race, and it's exactly what NASCAR intended with it. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on in. I appreciate it a ton. We'll be live Wednesday night on this channel. We'll have Danny B and Eric E step on for NWP, and we'll be doing this every week the rest of the year. Xfinity and Cup next week at Watkins Glen. Trucks as well the rest of the year. We'll do all of them, so subscribe if you're new, and thank you guys all for jumping in. Can't wait to see you this weekend. Next weekend. Until then, enjoy your night. Have a good one, y'all.